So it gives me the most AI pleasure ever to introduce my good Celtic friend, Geraint Jones from Move Digital.
How's it going?
Good, good.
Are you okay?
I'm good. I'm good. I'm just I'm in this sort of period where I've got one eye on the wine box, but I've got a couple more calls and meetings to get through before we do that. So the rules at the moment are a bottle of wine if you're wanting to get up okay the next day, 2 bottles of wine if you're partying. I mean, that's pretty much
Well, I was just saying to you, I think, taken on a job, which means that it's quite a big job, but it requires me to be by my computer between 6 and midnight, 5 days a week.
Yeah.
So tactically, you could say that that's a good move, isn't it? Because it means that it's healthy living, isn't it?
Well, give it a go. It'll keep you off the booze. It'll save you money. And it'll save you buying loads of new clothes when you get out the other end.
Yeah.
So yeah, but I saw. I think it was the Independent newspaper just put up something saying, let's do dry January, while we're at home with us, and just everyone was like, let's not, just like.
Yeah, it seems to be. It feels like I've been like celebrating something. There's nothing to celebrate, but it seems, it's like the holiday 5 o'clock kind of Peckham pills at 5 o'clock, like you do when you're on holiday. This ain't a holiday. I think from all the people that I know, it just seems to be a bit of a kind of wet few weeks. It's been a wet few.
I think it's good in a way that people are getting together through Zoom and WhatsApp and all the rest of it. I've had a couple of virtual pubs with my mates and joined some virtual pub quizzes, which was great fun. There's one called the Corona Arms. Have you seen this one?
No,
it's a good one. A few guys in like East London or something, and they've done it, and they did a really good job on a virtual quiz the other day. And also the other one that's been brilliant has been Chris Moyles on a Friday night.
Oh, really?
He does a DJ set.
Oh, wow.
So I watched it last week, and it was 40 minutes of sheer joy. It was just daft stuff. It was like Katy Perry and Fresh Prince. And
so what time's that?
I think he does it about 7. I'm going to look out for it tonight.
All right, yeah, I might do that.
That would be amazing. And he did Mr. Brightside going into, like mashed up with the backing track of Sweet Child of Mine.
Wow.
It was great. Like, absolutely.
Did you see when Chris Mott, he interviewed Liam Gallagher? That was quite a good interview, actually. He's quite
I felt Chris looked a bit nervous at the start of it, but kind of all warmed up. But
I'd be nervous if I interviewed Liam Gallagher.
Oh, I think it's breakfast radio and swearing is probably the most nervy thing. But I'm really back into radio in a big way at the moment. And
what are you listening to? What sort of channels?
Steve Wright. Like I know like, I'm getting old and all that, but Steve Wright is the masterclass in proper DJing.
Yeah.
Just he's as good as Howard Thingy out in America. Just amazing. A lot, a bit of that, and then six music, absolute 90s.
Yeah, I like a bit of BBC Radio London, actually.
Yeah, well, I don't do it obviously because I'm out of it.
You don't live in London.
But so 6 music, Radio X, absolute 90s, bit of Radio 2. But I've just bought the URLs, baggy pop beats.
Right.
I was thinking about starting maybe like listening parties or wee club nights or something like that.
Just do it. We're going to be here for a while, bro.
I need you to teach me to DJ as well.
I can do that.
Or maybe you could we'll do a session on DJing as well. Maybe.
Yeah, I'm up for that. I ain't going anywhere.
Anywho, I know you've got your other podcast, your Popular Man, on the guesting side of things. So we're going to talk about Alexa, and we're going to talk about just its potential, and maybe other smart speakers too. But I think it is more than anything, start at the start. What the F is Alexa all about, and how the heck would I get involved in it as being a marketing manager or a brand?
Yeah, so I first got excited. So I obviously, my background is search. So I'm quite interested in how we find things online or through podcasts or whatever. I think that there's loads of different tactics and strategies that you can, use to get found, and to get your brand out there. It doesn't have to cost the world. Yeah, there's ways that you can do it, bootstrap it basically. So Alexa, I had an office in Kennington and I ordered an Alexa on Amazon, and
How long ago was this?
this was like 2016, something like that.
Yeah.
And just amazing, really. It's obviously, it's supposed to be the star, the mothership kind of voice on, is it on Star Trek?
Is it really?
Yeah, so that's what it is. So and essentially, Alexa is the new internet. It's the new website. It's the new way that you can get found. So smart speakers and Alexa, there's a phenomenal kind of amount of these things being sold. It's like scary. Like the stats are kind of like off the
30 million exist already.
Yeah, and it's like,
Like
it's
a fifth of the population.
it's incredible, and in the States it's even more. So these smart speakers are in people's homes, and at the moment, we're basically using them to like 1% of their capacity. So we're using, like the analogy I always use is we've got Alexa in our kitchen and we're just using it to time an egg and to play Jay-Z. That's pretty much what we're doing. But the capability of these things is like incredible, and as a brand, you could really use it to your advantage to communicate with your audience. So Alexa has got so I actually I've done some work with Amazon. I've helped run the Alexa Dev Meetup. I've got a voice podcast called the Voice for Voice podcast, which is like quite a listened to podcast around the world. I create Alexa skills, so I'm creating skills for quite a large building society at the moment, for some quite well-known sports people. And food and drink is something, because I spoke, didn't I, about at your event last September. I think food and drink and voice just goes perfectly together. It's like salt and pepper. It goes in whatever. It's just magical. And Alexa's got this thing called a skill. So a skill is what you need to build so that you can appear on Alexa. So without getting too complicated, the skill is programmed in a way that any way that you want Alexa to respond. So you could create a skill. So let's make up a brand, a craft beer brand. Yeah. Is that a good? So imagine if you're a craft beer brand, and you need to you're thinking, I need to get on this voice shizzle because it's, that's the future, man. I've seen this guy called Geraint. He's been talking about it. I need to create get on voice. How do I do it? So the drinks brand, craft beer brand, would then need to create an Alexa skill. Okay, so the Alexa skill is something that sits within Amazon's ecosystem. You upload it. If you just like go online and like Google how do I create Alexa skill, it'll all be there. Okay, because I don't think I can kind of explain it it's just too much to explain it now. I think you need to just the headline is you need a skill, and the skill then can be programmed in any way that you want it to be programmed. So the craft beer skill could be Alexa open, let's call it, Alexa open the craft beer skill. And my Alexa is obviously going off now.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so, and everyone's at home, sorry. So then Alexa would say, welcome to the craft beer skill. So actually, number one, you need to enable, the people at home will need to enable the craft beer skill on their Alexa app. So once that's done, the craft beer skill ignites, it's open on Alexa, and the conversation starts. So then you need to think, sorry?
Going back though, you would need to do marketing to let people know that this skill is available, right?
Totally. Yeah, totally. That's called the discoverability element, which is a huge area that we're actually going after at the moment. But So then you need to think about, so Mr. Craft Beer, how would his customers interact with this skill? So what sort of information would they want? So you'd need information about all the beers that you sell. So it could be, Alexa, open craft beer spill. And then the craft beer, Alexa's voice would say, welcome to Craft Beer Skill. Would you like to find out about our range of low percentage beers, non-alcoholic beers, or select random? Okay, so that would be like a really simple conversation design. So you might say select random, and then Alexa would reel off all the information about this specialist craft beer, which is 6.9%, which is an IPA, which is quite citrusy, which is made out of this, inspired by like root beer from the States, whatever it might be. But let's get your user excited about this beer. Mm-hmm. And then at the end, it would say, would you like to find out about a similar beer, or would you like to go back to main menu? And then you would say, I would like to find out probably about a similar beer. Let's find, and then it would reel off more beers. So then what
it's like a chatbot, so like an actual conversational chatbot, basically.
Yeah. So what I do is I come up with I've got a weird job, man. I mean, I'm weird anyway because I'm sat with Abbey Road in the background, wondering what the hell. But my job is I'm a conversation design. That's my skill set. So what I do is I create conversation design trees, and I get really excited when I do this, and I work out all the possibilities that the human voice could ask Alexa. So there are rubbish Alexa skills, really bad ones. Okay, don't build a bad Alexa skill. Build a really good one.
Have you got any that you particularly get annoyed by?
Well, I can't because I'll slag off all the developers, and I don't want to do that. So. There's some, so just like, and I think this is why voice has not taken off so far. It's because just if you're a craft beer company, just do what I just said then. Just do exactly note for note what I just said and promote it using your marketing efforts. Put it on the can, just ask Alexa to, and then suddenly people will actually, no one wants to find out about a craft beer by typing it into the internet. Why would you want to do that? You want to hear. And then you can build upon the skill then. So the conversation design could be, you could then even, if you're a craft beer shop, which has got lots of deals with lots of shops in London, why don't you link it up to Amazon Pay and get it delivered to them? Yeah. So that's where it's going.
Well, a couple of things then, just coming right back out sort of meta and macro and all that stuff. So the possibilities are a skill that can bring your brand to life and connect the consumer with your brand. There's one bit. Second bit, or not in any order, but the other thing you can do, obviously, then is maybe like buy it, order it. So whether it's on Amazon, which I would absolutely recommend, by the way, every product and every restaurant brand and anyone should find a way to be on Amazon, right? It's just the Google of products. And so, I was doing a podcast a wee while ago there, and it was with an amazing guy called Viv Crass. And Viv is starting like a sort of Amazon agency sort of thing, but maybe a bit less on the voice, but more on getting your products on Amazon.
Yeah, sure.
And he said 52% of all product searches start on Amazon, not Google.
No, it's crazy, yeah.
So I would say, and just as an aside, by the way, on YouTube, there's an amazing video that's almost coming to fruit now that happened in like 2004, something like that, right? And it's called Epic 2015. I think there's maybe an Epic 2016. And it predicts the future that Google and Amazon get together, and it's called Google Zone, and it overtakes Microsoft. And this video got made before Facebook existed.
Wow.
And it's showing how we live life, and it was showing that every single person would have their own personal radio station.
Yeah.
Happened with podcasts.
How voice can, I think what will happen with voice is that, so it's Alexa's strategy to be everywhere. So they've released the buds, they've released the loop, which is the ring. you know, so they've released the glasses as well. So like a bit different to Google Glasses. I mean, like I'm not a fan of all of them. The glass is ridiculous that you'd have glasses that you talk to. I wouldn't have a ring that I'd talk to, but I'd have buds that I'd talk to, you know? So so it's Amazon's strategy to be everywhere. So it wants to hijack your day. So from the moment you wake up in the shower, you could be able to speak to Alexa in a smart home,
Yeah.
you know, to the shower that, you know, that,
You
and it
want,
might, yeah, book an Uber. Can you add this to my shopping list? That sort of thing.
you want everything to be controlled by voice. You know, you want to go put the heating on, and I know you can sort of do that. It's slightly connected, but it's still a bit glitchy. You want to be able to switch your oven on and off. You want to, you
Yeah.
know, it's just all these kind of things that could help,
Yeah.
but it needs to be seamless. And as you say, I think it's like mobile was 98 to early 2000s, that WAP sort of phase that wasn't quite there, but
Yeah. Yeah.
it's getting closer. And
Yeah.
what are like the best skills that you've seen? You know, what ones are you?
So Ocado is really good. So that's like something that we use all the time. So we've got, I've obviously got Alexas throughout the house. You enable it through the app, you know, the Alexa app, which is the most downloaded app Christmas time. The Alexa app is the #1 downloaded app on the App Store to give a signal of how popular this is. And you enable it, and you can basically add stuff to your shopping list. So, like, that's awesome. You've got obviously the screens are a big priority for Amazon at the moment. So, you know, I go into Amazon quite a lot, and they tell me what's happening, and the screens are a big thing. So the show is it's a really beautiful piece of kit actually now. It's got a really nice screen. So when you're making these skills, there's an opportunity to upload really nice images as well. So that, you know, the Amazon Fire, which is the TV, which allows you to kind of interact with the TV. So that's where it's going. So my advice to brands is, so, okay, voice, it's almost there. I actually met Gary Vaynerchuk a few years ago, and I went to VoiceCon in New York, and I asked him, because I like Gary Vaynerchuk, I know as you do, and I said, when do you think voice is going to kick off? Expecting him to say now.
Yeah.
He said it's going to take time. It's going to take years. And I was like, oh no.
Mm.
I thought it was now. I thought like I was, and he's right. He's right, because that was almost 2 years ago, and it still hasn't taken off. And it's a long-term thing, and it's a discoverability thing. So people, like, if you create, well, A, the skills aren't that great, let's be fair, and B, no one knows how to, if there's this like mind block about how do you actually use it, you have to go into the app, you have to search for the skill, you have to enable it, and then how do you, so what it's like, we call it voice discoverability. So how do you educate the end user? And how you educate is like through video content and through guides. And so the opportunity for food and drink, you know, the food and drink sector. So restaurants, I mean, could really easily create, if you're a brand with like 20 restaurants, you could really easily create an Alexa skill for your brand, which would enable customers to get daily menus. So it could be Alexa open, you know, whatever the restaurant chain is called, and then Alexa would say, would you like to hear about daily menus, recipe of the day, or book a table? So just keep it super simple. So daily menu would be, you know, Alexa would then say, today we've got this. Recipe of the day, great, because you could then you know, upload maybe a recipe every day, which you know, like super fans of your restaurant and brand, people who go there all would find this really interesting. And then book a table. You know, if you've got your restaurant that you go to all the time, and you've got Alexa in your living room, in your kitchen, just use Alexa to book the table.
Yeah, and I think there's, just exploding that out, I think there's so much that you could do. You know, you could be talking about the interiors, you could be talking about, you know, even things to do after you had dinner there. You could be doing things like, you know, if you had the full cocktail bar list, because, for example, if you like Bloody Marys, right, Soho Houses and the Soho House Group, their Bloody Marys are like the best thing you've ever had. And
Yeah.
you'll be able to go in and go, right, how do I make that? Hot
Yeah, I've emailed Soul House a few times just
yeah,
saying, come on, guys, let's just do something because your customers will all have these devices at home. Why
exactly.
don't, yeah, let's just add some value to them by, like creating what is Soul House voice? How does it sound?
Yeah,
Imagine that. It'd be awesome.
yeah.
And, and it could be any. How does your brand sound sonically? How does it sound through podcasts? How does it sound through voice? It's important stuff, And I think in these times that these are the things that you need to do. Okay, it's a shitstorm out there at the moment for everyone, but is now the time to think about this? To think about how does it look in 6 months' time when the restaurants are full again, when people are in pubs again? How can I stand out from the competition? And it's things like this that I would say could put you at a competitive advantage.
I think always I talk about, you've got to control what you can control. And you can't control what's going on out there, really.
No.
Like, if your team, like a Leon or someone like that right now, is fully tied up feeding the NHS and getting the fund, like, that's fine and great and brilliant and admirable and all these things. So they might not have extra capacity to think about this, but most brands have hunkered down. They might be doing a little bit of takeaway and a little bit of giveaways. They might have furloughed their staff. But I would really hope, right, that the brands that you work for, and if you've been furloughed, you genuinely have got an affinity for your employer stroke ex-employer, that you would want to give something back to them maybe as well. Like they've had to follow you for survival reasons so that you will have a job to go back to, hopefully, when. But either it's teach yourself these things and grow. I was thinking about Mark Ritson's mini MBA thing.
Yeah.
A lot of people, I think that'll be oversubscribed this time, because
Yeah.
I think so many people have the downtime, and there's a money question. But a lot of people go, do you know what? I'm going to invest in myself and I'm going to study. If I had 3 months proper to study, I might have got a slightly better grade than I did. But
Yeah, I wasn't that great in school. So, yeah, and then there's another thing which is useful, which is called Alexa flash briefing. So a flash briefing is like something, again, you enable through the app. And you say, Alexa, what's in the news? Alexa, what's my flash briefing? So my flash briefing is stuff that I'm interested in: Sky Sports, BBC News, Tech Radar, that sort of thing. So then I get the information that I want within about 2 minutes before I leave the house. But if you're a food, if you're the craft beer company, then create a flash briefing. You simply load up either spoken audio or Alexa's voice. Create a daily flash briefing. You can preload it, and then every day could be the beer of the day. So, Alexa, what's my flash briefing? And then you'd have the 5. Okay, next up is Sky Sports, and then it's the Sky Sports. Next up is the beer shop, and it's the beer of the day. And it's just like that, a restaurant giving you menu of the day. It's just hijacking people's day so they become fans, super fans of your brand. It just helps you just stand out.
If you think about a lot of restaurants, that maybe one of their pillars is about music, let's say. So if you've got Pizza Punks or, name your brand, and, it's song of the day, where it's, and you go, God, that's, it's Fountains of Wayne, or it's, some emo, or it's REM, or, that have to keep you going as well. That would be really cool.
And think of it like this, when you go to a restaurant, your favorite restaurant, and the owner, and he treats you, he knows what he's doing. He treats you like family, and he, gives you an extra shot at the end, and it's that personable relationship. How does that personable relationship sound through voice and through audio and podcasts? So if there is that, how does that person do you create a skill which isn't Alexa's voice, it's that person's voice, and you just record him or her giving all the scenarios, like I said, through the conversation design tree. And that's what I'm doing now for some quite big companies, is actually using real life audio. So you can interact with that person, with, the legendary owner of the restaurant that you love.
Who is it you need to help with this stuff? You know, what team do you need to do this?
So you need so the conversation design is like critical. So you need someone to come up with a conversation design. So you could really do that yourself, and you could involve then like
Someone like you?
someone like me, but generally not a plug. You need to get someone who's done this before and understands it. So then once you've got the conversation design tree, then because it's actually quite complicated, because there needs to be this is why skills mess up if there's not like error messages, if you don't think about every scenario, because what you don't want is just white noise. It always needs to go around, and you need to be able to answer every question. You then need to get a developer on hand. So there's tools that you can use online that actually allow you to drag and drop and create these skills.
Yeah.
So just Google like Alexa skill tools, and you'll see what's available. So you don't actually have to use a developer, but then you would need an experienced Alexa developer to bring your conversation design tree to life, and then you need to upload it. And it needs, what's quite important is that it needs to get certified by Amazon, so it needs to work. Because if it doesn't work, Amazon doesn't want it on their platform.
How long does that take?
It varies. Like, it could take a couple of days to a couple of weeks.
Is it a testing area that you could, like, how do you test it? Is there a developer area?
Yeah, there's a developer portal which you upload it to. So it is actually quite straightforward. And my prediction is this is going to become quite big business, in the same way that website agencies, app agencies, the new wave of like agency entrepreneur will be voice first. And don't forget, when Apple make iOS apps voice enabled, that's when the landscape will change, because then you can use your mobile to navigate Deliveroo through voice and Uber through voice, and that's just game changing. So Apple hold the key to this. They've got this critical mass. We've all got the phones, and Samsung's Bixby as well, which is their equivalent. Huge. The number of Samsung phones. So it's going to get. I have been saying this for a while, mind, but it is just around the corner. It's like Gary Vee said, it's going to take time.
Who's going to win the race then? Because you've got this whole VHS Betamax thing sort of going on. So, are they all going to have to become a common platform so life's seamless, or is it that you'll be stuck with one version?
Well, each platform's good for different things. So Google has got its Google Assistant, and Google Home. And that is best, as you'd expect, for displaying results. So if you ask Google Home a question, it will links up to Google to give you the results. Okay. Alexa links up to Bing, which isn't as good a search engine. So Alexa is very pro developer. It's a bit like it's open source. It wants people to build skills, which is Google is a bit more closed doors. It wants brands to build voice experiences. But it's got far superior search results. And don't forget duplex as well. Can you remember where it's like about 18 months ago you could book a restaurant by voice, and it was all automated? So that's coming as well. So that's another conversation, to be honest with you.
A couple of other things just before I let you go. Restaurant reviews, and also those situations where you're going, Alexa, tell I'm just trying to whisper over here. Then, tell me the best Italian in, Croydon. How do you go about that?
So you would need to build an FAQ page on your website, and so that's voice SEO basically. So if you want Google to on my podcast, this is what we always used to do at the end. We used to do a test where we did silly tests, and we'd actually end up bringing through. And it was always food and drink. You'd need to optimize your website, so you'd need to build probably an FAQ page which would answer those questions. So voice SEO, something like 20, whether or not this is true, 20% of searches are made by voice. Bear in mind, there's 40,000 searches per second. That's quite a lot.
Well, and then what about rating and reviews sites? You know, so your TripAdvisors and all the rest of it. You know, and where is that best information coming from? Because when you say I want the, you know, where's the best place to eat out in New York, and this was a real example, Danny Mayer, you know, Shake Shack and all that, he asked Alexa about that, but Gary Vee was saying that was coming off of Yelp. Maybe?
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know what's happening in the UK. I mean, is it the same? Is it being fed by something like Yelp?
Yeah. I mean, Yelp have they've got voices obviously huge. Because if you think about the internet, it was all directories that was the big thing, wasn't it? You know, business directories and listings. So that's where kind of voice is going. That, you know, these big companies will have to be voice first. So yeah, they will all have to have voice strategies, clearly, because if you're asking Alexa for a restaurant, then like the TripAdvisor stuff needs to be a consideration.
But well, I guess what I'm thinking is, if the results coming back on Alexa are from Yelp, does that mean that you need to turn your focus to doing a better job on Yelp? Because
yeah,
I don't think Alexa's going to Google for those results, is it?
No, Alexa goes to Bing. So you need to optimize your website for Bing and ensure that it ranks high on Bing. So it'll get its search results from Bing. So as part of that, Yelp would be, you know, a consideration, you know. So the answer is yes.
What else? Is there any last final hacks or any thoughts before?
Well, just think about, like, ideally, if you had unlimited budget, you'd think about your voice experience and how voice works on every platform. So how does it work on Alexa? How does it work on Google? How does it work if someone's out and about? How does your podcast fit into that? And my prediction is it's probably 18 months away. That like this will be just part of, because my daughter is 5 and I observe her and she doesn't say anything, type anything, she just says everything. So that's when that generation, it sounds an awful thing to say, is monetizable.
Yeah.
You know, then she ain't going to type anything. Her SEO is going to be whoever's. So just start thinking about it now.
Well, it feels like a moment needs to happen. So contactless cards, you know, it was, you know, sort of John Lewis and Pret and all these that got forced through the behavior. AR, I suppose, was Pokemon Go and stuff like that. And then I suppose video conferencing, actually coronavirus has been the accelerant for that. So it feels like voice is needing that sort of big moment. But I think it's like,
it could be duplex, it could be I don't know, voice ads, Spotify, you know.
Well, I think the other thing is just get on and do something and start it now. I think a lot of people are not wanting to do it because they're like, we need a voice strategy and then it's really big. It's just like, just do one small
and start. Anyone watching this now, just like, you know, in this quiet period for the next 3 months, just message me on LinkedIn and, you know, free of charge, if there's anything I can do to help in terms of strategy, just DM me and I'll happily just give you my opinions and what you should be doing.
And I think it's, you know, muck about with it, be curious, ask the smart speakers lots of questions, see how other things function, see how other brands function, just get really curious on it. And then the last thing to think about, I think, is the Amazon thing, which is when people start saying, Alexa, order me a pair of jeans or order me a pair of sneakers. Oh, hang on, something. Alexa's. But it's starting to think about that, to say, well, are you ordering on brand? Are you ordering on information? Are you ordering on search results? Are you getting Amazon's own stuff? Alexa, stop. So, you know, it's quite interesting. You know, I think there's a whole world of stuff there. But obviously we've had this chat, which is great, and, you know, I'll put this up soon. We've also got the video up that we'll be releasing in the next couple of weeks of you doing your thing at Propel.
Yeah.
back in September. So that coupled with this, I think,
Yeah, and let's get everything back up. Things will recover. Let's just start, adding value, and just let's do some more speaking stuff, and let's just, let's get this going.